Welcome to the League 2.0 podcast, featuring your hosts, Charlie Little and Kyle Jackson, with special guest, Matt Winter.
Heyo, it's the League 2.0. We got Winter back and Kyle and myself, Charlie. Winter, welcome back. How are you doing?
Excellent. Thank you for having me back. Let's do this. Let's talk some football.
We definitely missed you, man. How are you, Kyle?
I'm good. Got a big trade out of the way. We're going to talk about that here. I'm excited.
Yeah, so let's just hit that right away. So we had a blockbuster trade. Finney and Kyle, they were, working the phones, had some long discussions. Finney, you receive Amon-Ra St. Brown and Breece Hall. And you've traded away Courtland Sutton and Najee Harris to Kyle. It's an absolute blockbuster. Like I was shocked when I saw this trade. I never thought Kyle would give up Breece Hall. So now, Winter, what do you think of this trade?
I think it's a very exciting trade. There's a lot of great players going both ways. I think this is going to be a classic situation of wait and see in terms of who actually won this trade. I mean, I like every player here. It's like Amon-Ra has been amazing so far. Hopefully, there's no injury concerns there, but I think he'll hang in there. Breece Hall, I personally love those rookie running backs. He's looked great. And then going Kyle's way, Courtland Sutton. I mean, always good. Hopefully, that Denver offense figures it out. And then Najee Harris. I mean, he's just a carries hog. So I mean, lots of great players for both teams here.
He's a proven winner. That's
quote unquote
down to. Yeah.
That's what was said between you and Gavin in one chat, and then other things were said between Gavin and Finney in another chat, which will
ultimate puppet master.
Yeah. I personally felt like when I saw this trade originally, I thought, wow, Kyle really won that trade. Like that is Courtland Sutton coming into the year was one of the top wide receivers, and Najee Harris is a first round pick in most drafts. He was technically a second round keeper, I guess, for Finney. But then when I took a step back, thought about it a bit more, Amon-Ra has looked like an absolute superstar, and I think anyone would love to have him. I think he might actually be better than Courtland Sutton. At least he seems to be.
He's been so far, at least. More
consistent, and he seems to be a bigger part of the offense, especially with the way Russell Wilson is currently playing. And Breece Hall, last week, actually, a big part of Breece Hall's game was he was a target machine. Oh my God. Joe Flacco, I think he had at least 15 targets or something. Like, it was nuts. It was actually nuts. So
there is a little bit of, I love Breece Hall. Obviously, I didn't want to actually trade him at all. It hurt me to trade him, but it was the only thing that could make this trade happen. And part of my thinking was, Joe Flacco is not the starting quarterback anymore.
Yeah. Zach
Wilson doesn't really check down. Like, if he's in trouble, he runs.
True.
He tries to buy more time. Maybe there'll be less check downs, or maybe there'll be more. I don't actually know, but that was part of my thought process, at least, trying to come up with a reason why I would possibly want to trade Breece Hall. I had to convince myself for several hours.
He is on the Jets, so
yeah. That is the other part of it. But then on the flip side, it's like going into next season, what draft round? Like, say it's not a keeper draft, what round will Breece Hall be valued at? Like, no one would be shocked if he's a first rounder next year, right?
Not at all.
It's a doozy of a trade. I'm quite impressed that you were willing to give up Breece Hall. I am, but I think both, you could argue both teams win somehow, right? So,
especially because Finney is 0-3, unfortunately. So he
needs to spice it up.
Bad idea, because at least you're getting a guy who, by all counts, could be the RB1 next year.
Mm-hmm.
If everything, obviously, cards have to play out right. Like for Jonathan Taylor, it did. Like coming into last year, Jonathan Taylor wasn't what he was this year, or what he was supposed to be this year so far.
And so far this year, Najee Harris is he's battling some sort of, he's kind of been injured. He obviously had a decent week last week, but he's still, something's nagging him, right? So that's, you've taken on a bit of injury risk, obviously. So, but great trade. Hopefully this opens up the floodgates. It motivated me to kind of look at possible trades, although I didn't really get anywhere far. But I want to make a trade now even more.
Love
How
that.
about you, Winter? Do you have anything cooking? Are you working on any trades over there?
I've been slinging a couple out. I have a certain player that I'm with who does have some value that I'm trying to move, but
Oh,
Which player are you trying to move?
well, you see, he plays the tight end position.
Oh, yeah, pretty valuable player. I see.
Pretty valuable, you know. I mean, I've had him for a couple years. Maybe somebody else wants to give him a spin. We'll see.
Oh, so you're in the scenario where he cannot be kept, I believe, right?
That's right. So
Kind of like Charlie with Justin Jefferson. So Charlie's definitely looking to trade Justin Jefferson.
Oh, I would say I'm definitely looking at trading
I'm
him,
joking.
but-
I'm joking. No, I understand that. No, that's a smart move.
But yeah, I guess for all new teams, which I'm sure you guys know this, but I'm going to mention it anyways. If you if you have a player, you can keep a player a maximum of 3 years. So the year that you draft them is their first year, and you can keep them 2 years beyond that. So a lot of us obviously have been in this league for a bunch of years. We have guys that we've kept already, and we're hitting that limit. So Justin Jefferson, for instance, is my final year. I can't keep him. He'll be available to the draft next year. So if you offered something right, maybe I would consider moving Justin Jefferson. But it's going to cost.
Expect an offer from Gavin within the hours of him hearing this.
He's saying there's a chance, people. There's a chance.
But yeah, hopefully this opens up the floodgates. We need some action. Last year felt like a bit of a dry year when it came to trades. So let's get it going. I guess already Finney is putting in. We add him to the league. He's adding entertainment for everyone with this trade. He's been a good addition to the league. He's 0-3, so he's donating his $50. Like, he's just a great guy.
How dare you?
All right, so on to the current standing. So the NFC last week, we had Shiitake Spew sitting at the very top, but now things have kind of leveled out after this previous week. We've got Action Jackson, Thundergun Express, Way She Goes, Lil Sebastian, and Shiitake Spew all sitting at 2-1. And then you got Chase Your Dreams and DeAndre the Giant in the basement at 1-2 in our division, which I am not freaking out, but I am freaking out a little bit about my current record.
He's totally freaking out.
If I lose again, there's going to be problems.
Just imagine how available Justin Jefferson will be next week.
Oh my God.
If he loses.
Oh geez, it's killing me a little bit.
What I just noticed is both of the new teams are at the bottom of their divisions.
I know that doesn't look good.
Which coming into the year, I thought both of their teams were stellar, and that Charlie gift wrapped them.
Yeah, you were saying I'm too generous. Yeah, it's bullshit.
Clearly, I know nothing, as I keep coming back to.
Okay, so the AFC, we've got Finkel Einhorn at 3-0, which Steve said to you he's shocked.
Oh
he doesn't understand.
I've been trying to trade with Steve since week 2, and he's like, I'm undefeated. I'm not going to make a trade right now, which is completely fair.
But
he doesn't know how he's there.
Look at his points for. He has 266 points for. And if you look at the NFC, none of us are below 273. So, wow.
Hey, he's got the least points against, though. Clearly, he's got a good defense.
He's probably texting and trolling and getting people to make lineup changes. That'd be a Steve move.
I can see that.
And then we've got Total Immortal at 2-1. And then the rest of the division has losing records. Got Toronto Flatliners at 1-2, which is a bit shocking. Magic School Bus 1-2, Rogue Val 1-2, Wally World 1-2, and then Captain Cook in the basement at 0-3.
Looking at Gavin's points for and points against, he's almost the exact same points for and points against as Thundergun.
Oh my!
And they're reverse records, obviously, but just that's the beauty of fantasy football.
Good point. Yeah, it really comes down to who you face, and you just need things to line up properly. All right, so let's touch on some injuries, some things that might be concerning for certain owners in our league. Michael Thomas, Steve's steal of the draft, he has a toe issue. He left the previous game and is questionable for week 4, which boosts the value of your boy Chris Olave, Winter.
Thank you very much.
Cha-ching!
Also, sidebar on that, they are potentially missing their quarterback, both of them.
No,
so that that could be a shot to Michael Thomas if he plays, and definitely it's a big shot to Olave because like he's the deep ball guy. He's always deep. And I'm not really sure how much of an arm Andy Dalton's got left. I know I saw years of him just chucking it to AJ Green on every play. But
I'll take that.
yeah,
We'll see what they can do in that beautiful London air.
that's
Yo,
true.
Andy Dalton was QB1, bud. Give the guy a chance. You guys remember that tweet, right?
Charlie's had enough.
I named my fantasy team after him for 1 year. Remember that? The Red Rocket?
Sure do.
That's a great name, though.
Yeah, it was a great name. Wow, that was years ago. Holy crap! All right, probably the biggest injury of the week is DeAndre Swift, who is Liz and Dave's player.
I would say one of the biggest.
Okay, one of the biggest, DeAndre Swift. He is it, but I would say because it's being basically confirmed that he's going to be held out through week 6.
Okay, you're right.
Which is their bye week, so it's looking like what, a 3-week absence for them.
Yeah.
So that hurts. That definitely hurts. Which, look out for Craig Reynolds, everybody. Remember that name, Craig Reynolds of the Detroit Lions. The guy is a stud.
You know how I'm going to remember it? When you drop him next week.
Oh, who's going to eat their words here? I don't know.
You get it, Dad. You got my back. All right. Tua Tagovailoa, who is Finn's bench QB during that one crazy week. He started last week, though, eh?
I actually tried to get him in the big trade. I actually forgot to mention that. I was trying to switch Burrow for Tua because I have Waddle. That was my only thinking.
Why weren't you able to pry him out of his 0-3 hands?
He said he's considering keeping Tua.
Oh!
So that made him almost off the table, which is completely fair. Tua's looked great.
Do you think he told you that confidentially? Like, that's wow.
Or he told me that to be like, stop asking me about Tua. You're bugging me. I don't want your stupid Joe Burrow.
When you guys discussed this trade, like, was it a FaceTime call?
No, definitely
was it
Messenger?
Okay, so everyone saw that Tua injury, by the way, right? Like they said it was a back injury. He couldn't feel his legs. But
oh, come on.
He looked like he was, oh my God, he's on cloud 9, the poor guy. He was lost.
37 beers deep trying to climb the stairs.
37? A back injury. That's the funniest thing I've ever heard.
I know, right? Apparently he hurt his ankle too somehow. That was part of it. I don't even know.
Hey, we've all been drunk and hurt our ankle before.
Yeah, that's true. So he's questionable for Thursday Night Football. I don't think it's been finalized yet. I think they're kind of keeping it to maybe a game time decision.
I'd be surprised if he doesn't play unless the league says he has to sit.
That's probably it. You're right. Which they might.
Yep, never know.
Dalvin Cook, who's another one of Finney's players.
This is the one I thought potentially the biggest because I'd be surprised if he played.
I heard, or at least, I heard that he's had this issue throughout his life. Apparently, all the way in high school, his shoulder, he has a dislocation. Like it dislocates super easily, which is not convenient as a running back. Do you actually?
Apparently, he has a device that they give him.
Oh, the device!
The device. I don't know why. I don't know why the device is limited to Dalvin Cook,
Cyborg,
and not a league wide.
What is the device?
I don't know. I heard it on a different podcast. They referenced the device. And I had no idea what it was.
The footballers, right? The footballers.
Yeah.
But, oh my God! If there's any way Gavin can edit the device onto this, it's a game changer. So they're bringing out the device again, I guess, or like what's going on?
So.
Wow. So Finney, I think Dalvin Cook's his value has actually gone up with his injury because the device is coming in.
Once you turn cyborg, you're definitely better at football. It's only reasonable.
There's so many new fantasy football team names being generated right now.
So the last injury to touch on is just Sterling Shepard, who was Wallace's guy.
Poor guy.
He was looking like he'd be fantasy relevant this year, and he tore his ACL.
He was definitely the main target for Daniel Jones. He looked good. He looked like he had before his previous injuries, but this might be it for Sterling Shepard, for being honest. It's a lot of injuries. He's getting older, and it's sad because he was a part of the Giants team for the last since OBJ was there, which is a long time ago.
Wow, that's a
No.
bummer.
I was telling
Yeah,
Kyle, I did love how all his teammates were coming and dabbing him up after. You could tell, like,
Mhm.
they all love him, right? It sucks to see that.
He's an important player to that locker room.
Yeah, it's a bummer. That's football, though, eh? It's
Yep.
things are going great, and then you get a. It seems like so many guys.
It was just a turf injury too, right? He was just running.
Oh, was it? Oof.
Yeah, he was. There was no one near him. He was just running at the end of the game, and his leg just blew.
Yeah, untouched, and his
On
leg
turf,
just
yeah.
exploded. Yeah.
And then it's actually brought up a lot of discussion about why there's even turf in NFL fields.
Really? Why is there turf? Like
Why not
it
real
should all be
grass?
grass.
Yeah, but I think OBJ was saying some shit today, and a bunch of players are coming out saying like they don't know why turf. Clearly, people get more injured. It's been a baseball debate for years, and we know that as Jays fans.
True.
Yeah.
We had all these
Yeah.
injuries over the years
I
because
just-
of the turf.
I feel like
don't
I
know.
would rather run on turf, but I guess when you fall, it's not as great. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know much. I don't know enough about it to say for sure, but it's
We
tough to
haven't-
see either way.
We haven't done enough research on grass and turf on this podcast yet. Maybe that's next week.
Maybe,
Maybe we
yeah.
should start that. Have the
Deep
grass
dive into
and-
grass. Okay,
Turf
30
time.
minutes.
turf time.
All right, on to the waiver wire reaction. There were nothing. Well, there's some questionable waiver wire additions. Nothing
Mhm.
huge. The biggest dollar addition was Mac Hollins, who Finney got for $13. The second highest bid was $7 by Bryce. He's on Las Vegas. I believe he's just kind of filling the shoes for oh my god, I'm blanking on his
Renfrow?
name. Yes, thank you, Hunter Renfrow.
But the week before they played, Hunter Renfrow played the whole game, and Matt Collins, I still believe, had 9
Was useful?
targets.
Wow.
I think he was like 6 for 70 something. I don't know how the exact numbers are from, but he was still useful the week before. I know he's a very large dude, a big target. Maybe this is the start of his breakout. I think it's worth a flyer. Again, you have this fab for a reason. You might as well don't be stuck with it at the end of the year.
Finney has been spending it, eh?
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
it.
I decided to get in on the action this week. I had that money was burning a hole in my pocket. I had to just fire
Yeah.
something out there.
Yeah, you took the guy I wanted. I thought $4 was enough.
We'll touch on that now. Isaiah McKenzie goes to Winter for $10, which, you know what? If you want someone, we learned that $11 is actually the magical price.
It is. I see it.
I
There's been 11 almost every week now.
That's not.
I messed up.
The second highest was Kyle at $4. Isaiah McKenzie's a nice guy. He looked really
He is.
useful in that game against Miami. So
You just kind of want a part of that offense.
Yeah, that's a nice thing.
Because clearly they literally throw the ball like 70% of the time.
was Gabe Davis out, or did he leave
No, he
or
played.
something?
He played 100% of the snaps, I believe.
All right, well, because I noticed that Isaiah McKenzie, he went to, I believe, at the end of like the both of the final drives, the one that I think they failed twice, but
Yeah.
he was
Maybe.
that actually really bothered me though. Did you guys see that where Isaiah McKenzie, he didn't run out of bounds? He looked like he was going to, and then he decided to run up field a bit more, and he got tackled inbounds, and then it was a shit show trying to get the ball to the middle of the field to. I don't know. It was a bit of a mess at the end.
He was trying to take care of his fantasy managers. Come on.
Someone won last week because of that extra 4 to 6 yards.
Wow. What a thoughtful guy. Good
Yeah.
pickup. David Njoku, he went to Finney as well for $11. The second highest bid I noticed was Finney for $7. So that's a good feeling when you beat yourself. And then third highest was Bryce,
Wait,
Have we
$6.
ever had that before? I didn't even realize you
I
could
don't know.
do
I didn't know that was possible, but
Wait,
I
what did
swear
you
to God
say?
it says that.
Wait, it does say that. I didn't
It
even
says-
notice that.
Right? It says that, right? I'm not imagining it.
Yeah, it does. I think the only way that could happen is if he had 2 different players he would drop with the 2
Yeah.
different bids.
But why would he
Wow.
change the price?
Throw us off.
He's a genius.
Oh my God, he's a big brain player over here. Dude, he won that trade. He knows more than anyone.
Way
Oh
more.
my God. Kadarius Toney went to Gavin for $11. I don't know anything about this. Like, is Kadarius Toney, is he going to get some time now, or do you know
I
anything about this?
honestly
Kyle?
have no idea. They don't. Honestly, the guy's been hurt back to college. He never can stay healthy. So maybe Brian Dabble doesn't love him that much, but he was injured last week. But even the last 2 weeks prior to that, he wasn't involved in the offense at all. But someone's going to have to catch passes, right? So maybe he just slots into where Shepard was playing. We don't really know enough yet. We won't know until the first game.
I didn't connect those dots because, Shepard's out. So, okay.
But my money would probably be on who Andrew picked up to be the guy who did the most receptions for the Giants.
Richie James Jr. for $1 to Andrew. No other bids.
Players coming out of nowhere, but he's looked like one of Daniel Jones's favorite targets and might get more volume now. So
Jones just needs like more than a second to throw the ball. That's a bit of a trick for him.
So his biggest problem, the offensive line's actually been pretty good. Andrew Thomas is the highest rated left tackle in football this year. The problem has been the rookie at right tackle. He has had a lot of big name pass rushers against him. He had to face Lawrence last week, but he has struggled a bit. But hey, that's rookie linemen, they struggle sometimes. I think he'll figure it out eventually, but it's just a struggle for now.
So probably the biggest and most questionable waiver wire pickup was Deshaun Watson to David and Liz for $2. There are no other bids, obviously.
No, I don't know why you.
What do you think was the reasoning behind that? What?
Because they're full tilt. Because they're 1 and 2. They're just in a closet with their feelings, freaking out. I don't know. They're lost, and clearly, I don't see any real explanation of why you'd pick up Deshaun Watson when you cannot put him on your IR, and he's still 9 weeks away or 8 weeks away from playing football.
That's the strangest part about it, yeah.
And also, he is a terrible human being by all counts.
Yeah, that is the other unfortunate part of this.
It's called a long-term play, guys. Come on, they're seeing very far down the line.
They already have Nuke too, eh? So yeah. They're holding on to a lot of suspended guys, which is maybe it's
bold strategy.
Very bold strategy. So who knows what's happening there? Maybe they'll fill us in over the coming week as to what their thinking was, but little bit interesting. All right, we're gonna move on to the top scorers for week 3. At the QB position, we had Lamar Jackson leading the charge yet again.
So good,
just a beast.
He's
got to be MVP favorite right now.
He's got to be, yeah. He's putting up those video game numbers yet again. So he had 40.42 points. That was with only 218 yards passing, but 4 touchdowns through the air.
I'm pretty sure I saw a stat that in the quarterback points on the year, he's number 1, and if Lamar Jackson without any rushing stats is like number 3 on the year.
Oh my God.
4, which is just so funny.
He has crazy stats. I think he has the most passing TDs so far this season, which nobody saw coming. It's like, pay this man his money, Baltimore. What are you guys doing?
No. Someone else is going to pay him that money next year.
He's got 10 passing touchdowns.
You know what team that's going to be? It's going to be the New York Giants.
Guy's dreaming.
Oh, always. There's actually been some rumblings.
Oh my God! Really?
By me, yeah. I'm out here.
Yeah, you started them.
The number 2 quarterback on the week, which is quite a jump down in fantasy points, is Jalen Hurts with 27.6 points. He looks great. And then the number 3 was Josh Allen, yet again 20. These are actually very common names at the top.
The usual suspects.
All 3 had, obviously Lamar Jackson's just a cut above right now, so I'm sure Perry is absolutely loving that. All right, we'll look at the running backs. So we had the number 1 was Khalil Herbert with 29.9 points. He had 157 yards rushing with 2 touchdowns, and he had 2 catches for 12 yards. That is interesting. And is David Montgomery coming back this next week? I believe he is, but
I don't think there's any for sure information out there yet, but if David Montgomery is not playing football, you start Khalil Herbert.
Oh yeah,
he's a beast.
Yeah, he looks like an absolute starter. This is David Montgomery's he's a free agent at the end of this year, correct?
Yes, so I believe so. Yes,
they have no ties to David Montgomery necessarily, so they could end up turning it over to Khalil Herbert even without David Montgomery injured at some point. Who knows? The number 2 in the week was Jamal Williams, the touchdown machine. He had 87 yards on the ground with 2 touchdowns and then 2 catches for 20 yards. So he's been a nice surprise. And now
he's going to be the only notable running back in Detroit the next few weeks. So.
Except for Craig Reynolds.
Don't know
Craig
who that
Reynolds.
is.
Don't forget the name of Craig Reynolds. I think that Craig Reynolds will actually be the number 1 guy now. And Jamal Williams will just steal his touchdowns.
We need a little Craig Reynolds count meter on the screen every time he's brought up in this podcast.
Gavin, can you please fire up some Craig Reynolds highlights? There should be a lot out there.
There's actually none.
3rd and 5. Goff gives it to Reynolds. Reynolds with room, picks up a first, cuts it down the sideline. Look at Craig Reynolds. Wow. 27 yards, first down, Motor City. Hamilton with the tackle.
Great block here. Craig Reynolds cutting it up. Great vision. And this O-line is just dominating. If he just run his track, the holes are there. He hitting the holes. And Craig Reynolds, he is putting his name on this NFL list of running backs, Gus. In a minute, guys are going to be asking, who is he?
There's actually none. Don't get him mistaken with Josh Reynolds, the superior Reynolds.
I actually YouTube searched Craig Reynolds today, and the first search outcome I believe is like a singer for a band. So he's not the number 1 guy, but I'm telling you,
he's also a singer in a band.
Oh my god,
it's perfectly possible.
Yeah, he's spending so much time on the bench. It's time to work on his singing.
Exactly.
Derrick Henry was the 3rd running back with 22.8. Like finally a nice little Derrick Henry week. Because of course the week he was against me. He had oh my god, this was mentioned in the fantasy footballers. Apparently, when it snows in Vermont, the first snow of Vermont, after that, Derrick Henry is a beast. For whatever reason, once it snows in Vermont, Derrick Henry becomes Derrick Henry. No joke. Have you heard this, Winter? Have you heard this?
I have not, but owners beware of global warming moving forward.
But the Yeti is loose now, so everyone be warned. Riley is about to win the league. All right, on to wide receivers. Devonta Smith was insane in the first half of that game. Wasn't he?
Gavin was clowning us all. He was putting his trade offers in the chat like a madman.
Oh man, that guy. He gets
okay.
Excited.
I tried to trade him Darnell Mooney for Devonta Smith on Monday. He wasn't having it though. I don't know why.
A couple days too late.
Only because that was one of the trades that he posted because he offered me that trade in week 1 or after week 1. I was like, I can't give up on Mooney yet. As a joke,
you wish you had. Oh my god, that's so funny.
That's karma for this podcast, really, because I mean, we were seriously questioning that Philly wide receiver strategy, and
we were. And
again, we know nothing.
I know. All of a sudden, the Eagles have this amazing passing attack. Like it's insane.
Yeah.
Anyways, he had 26.9 points. He had 12 targets, 8 receptions, 169 yards, and a touchdown. Which most of that was all in the first half. The number 2 player, Mac Hollins.
We touched on him a little bit already, but surprising.
I feel like Finney should have had to have paid more than he did for Mac. That's crazy. So he had 25.96 fantasy points, 10 targets, 8 receptions, 158 yards, and a touchdown. And he looked really good. He looks like a stud.
Yep, agreed.
Do you think he can continue, though? I don't know. Like, obviously, Devontae Adams is not producing quite like you'd expect. I don't know.
Kyle, I believe you were of the opinion that might happen, so
I think I touched on it. I think it was in this one. I think it's his Renfro, even when he plays.
In this one, because of technical difficulties. We don't...
Yeah.
So just to be clear, everyone, we recorded a previous podcast, had technical difficulties, and we had to start over. So
this time it was Charlie's fault, though. Let's make that clear.
I don't understand what happened. But anyways, give us credit. We are putting in this podcast. We already put in an hour into the previous one, and then
I think I know what happened. You were firing up Reynolds highlights during the pod, and you got an error. That's what happened. Okay, we got
because I was furiously looking for highlights and I couldn't find them. I couldn't find any. Anyways, Marquise Brown was the 3rd wide receiver of the week. 21 points,
14 targets,
17 targets.
Oh, 14 catches, 140 yards.
If he had a
Not great.
touchdown, it would have pushed him over the top. He'd be the number one. So, wow. That would have pushed him over the top. He'd be the number one. So, wow. That's. Oh. And I guess, Winter, you probably had the most eyes on that game. Did he look good?
I mean, yeah, but I don't know. I'm so disillusioned right now. I can't.
It's painful. It's yeah.
Even the good stuff looks. I'm not happy about. So it's like it's tough. I mean, you're in on this with me a little bit. James Conner doesn't look too great for you.
He looks horrible.
Yeah. Oof.
Like they can't move the ball, and they just need to get within. They have to get in the red zone, and then James Conner can maybe get me points. But outside of that,
They have to start fast. They're always losing. It's very irritating.
Yeah, that's a good point. But why is their defense so bad?
What? They don't have a. They have a. Okay, that's a long story.
I guess Chandler Jones was more important than anyone thought.
They have a lot of underperforming high draft pick rookies on defense too, like Isaiah Simmons and Zaven Collins. They're doing nothing. It's like, come on. I want Cliff out of there. Sorry, we'll do a separate Cardinals podcast for this.
Yeah, that'll be. We'll touch on that when we talk about grass and turf. Okay. The top tight ends, Mark Andrews, 24.9 points,
So
which
good.
I believe we said on this podcast. We're like, expect 20 plus points the rest of the way. So he is continuing that. He had 13 targets, 8 receptions, 89 yards, 2 touchdowns. And it's nothing, like, it's not shocking. It's just kind of like, all right, like, that's what we expect. So the guy's an absolute stud.
He's out.
Sorry.
I was just going to say, this week's power rankings for week 4, Mark Andrews has usurped Travis Kelce. I noticed.
Wow. So that's why you're trying to trade him.
Why did I bring it
up? David Njoku, who was another Finney pickup. He was a number 2 tight end. He had 10 targets, 9 receptions, 89 yards, and a touchdown. I guess the common theme here is that Finney really changed things up, and potentially for the better. He made a blockbuster trade. He picked up, spent money on Matt Collins, David Njoku. This guy's serious.
David Njoku did what we all thought he was going to do this year.
It's
maybe
true.
To a higher level last week, but coming in, we knew Brissett throws the tight ends a lot. We thought it was a match made in heaven. It didn't work out yet, but
yeah, the first 2 weeks beautiful. First 2 weeks, it looked like it was not like I would have picked him up. I was shopping for a tight end, and that's gonna bother me. Travis Kelce was the 3rd tight end, 15.9 points.
You could trade for him.
He dropped a touchdown in the end zone that would have won the Chiefs the game. He blew it.
I'm not sure that's a good thing.
It's not his fault.
Here, let me sell you on Travis Kelce. He dropped a touchdown pass to win a game.
Jeez, I'm not doing myself any favors here. This is why I never pull off trades.
Are you sure you want him? Yeah, that was a weird game, eh? That was. Did you guys see that 4th down play where the kicker tried to throw it to? I don't know if it was Travis Kelce. Who was that? Oh my god, I don't remember. But it was a failed 4th down attempt that kind of cost them the game as well.
There's been a lot of questionable coaching decisions this year, more so than I can remember this early in the year.
Yeah, it does. It does kind of feel like that, doesn't it?
Yeah. See Denver get week 1, like
so bad.
Yeah.
Okay, now I just want to quickly touch on the top 3 overall players through 3 weeks. So, basically the fantasy MVPs. QBs are obviously, it's kind of leaning towards QBs because they put up the most points. So I want to say Lamar Jackson. He's obviously the fantasy MVP. He's the number 1 guy. 104 total points.
Wow.
10 touchdowns through the air, 2 touchdowns on the ground. He's already got 243 rushing yards. This guy's an absolute maniac.
That's okay.
Perry must be loving it. Where did he draft him? Perry got 3rd round. 35th overall.
Wow,
I remember when he took him, I was thinking I don't know, man. Lamar's looked kind of like he's cooling off, but this is...
Boy, were you wrong.
Future New York Giant, Lamar Jackson.
Future New York Giant. Let's get those rumors rumbling.
The other, I guess, I'll skip past these other QBs. The number 1 wide receiver through 3 weeks is Stephon Diggs. That actually surprises me.
It does not surprise me.
He's got a ton of touchdowns.
I think he has the most yards on the year too.
Yeah.
It's 4 touchdowns, 344 yards.
Oh, it's not the most.
A lot of it was in those first 2 weeks, obviously. 122 yards, 148 yards. Like that second week was nuts against Tennessee on prime time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god. And then the number 3 guy, let's skip down past these other QBs. Cooper Kupp. Oh my god. This guy's just always so good.
No one cares. Boo, Cooper Kupp.
Actually, on that note, though, he only had 44 yards and no touchdowns last week. He's a bum.
Drop him.
Yeah, good idea. I think you should trade him for Travis Kelce.
Wait a minute. Something's not right here, though.
I couldn't.
It says
I
40
couldn't bring myself.
It says he had 14.4 points, though, with 4. Wait a minute. Something's not right here. Classic Cooper Kupp. There's something going on here where he did more than what it says. Anyways, number 3 is Cooper Kupp. Riley must be loving that. And obviously, with it snowing in Vermont, his other guy is doing unreal as well. Okay, so onto the Worryometer.
Cooper Kupp had 1 rush attempt last week for 20 yards and a touchdown.
There it is. Thank you. Thank you
You're
very
welcome.
much. Okay, so he just produces in any way he can. Javonte Williams is the first guy we're going to touch on as being a little bit concerning. I love him. My dad picked him with the 6th. Well, he was a keeper, so he cost him the 61st overall pick.
Which you convinced him to do as well.
I did help him out in that way, yes. Otherwise,
Now,
he would have kept
we're worried about him.
a little bit. But it's just
I'm not worried. I'm not actually worried.
overall. I'm also.
My
I just
only
wanted to-
worry for it. Sorry, go.
I just wanted to list off just some things about it. Through 3 weeks, he has no touchdowns. I feel like Melvin Gordon has gotten more work than I would have expected. And obviously the Broncos offense is not producing like everyone hoped.
Sounds like last year.
I feel like Melvin Gordon's surprised with how much work he's gotten. Just
He's looked good.
It comes down to coaching there. He's
ripping around.
last week. I don't know if he looks good.
Okay, exaggeration. You're right. I feel like he's fumbled in multiple weeks, actually.
But yeah, that's the only worry for me about Javonte is his coaching and his involvement. It's not like he should be more involved. They should be using him way more because he's extremely talented. So he'll probably be fine long term.
Did you hear that apparently they hired like some sort of coach to help? I can look this up. Was it Jeff Hackett? What's his name?
Nathaniel Hackett?
Oh my god, Nathaniel Hackett.
Jeff. Let's call him Jeff. My name is Jeff.
So Nathaniel Hackett, I'm pretty sure they hired like a sidekick to help him coach. I'm not even kidding.
That's a good sign. You pay a head coach all this money, and he's like, we need to bring him an assistant. An extra assistant.
He has a game. They hired a game management assistant.
Oh,
Nathaniel
no.
Hackett.
They made
I'm
up a
not even
position.
kidding. What the hell?
Oh, man.
Did they look better after that hire? I don't know. It was still a mucky
It was
win.
11-10 last week, no, or whatever.
Yeah, it was not
Nothing good about that game.
Okay, the next guy that I'm personally very concerned about is James Conner, who I picked with the 10th overall pick. He has, last week he had 13 carries for 39 yards, which is abysmal. He had he has one touchdown through 3 weeks, which touchdowns are his bread and butter. He has 27.30 points over 3 weeks. Should I be concerned, guys?
Yes.
He's not catching the ball either. He did a surprising amount of ball catching last year, so I don't know. There's not a lot to like right now, Charlie. Sorry.
I don't know. James Conner's actually just the whole Cardinals offense. Just not fun to watch. Just nothing really happening, and like
It's outside of Kyler Murray extending plays for like 30 seconds.
on that for a 2-point conversion.
Yeah, it's a poopy. Another guy, AJ Dillon, who was my 38th overall pick.
Mm-hmm. I think he's fine.
Okay, he only had 3.8 points last week. He has 29.60 points through 3 weeks. But you think he's fine? No concerns.
I think he's going to be involved heavily. Him and Aaron Jones almost split time, and they're each going to have their games. It's just going to be a little. There's no guaranteed point. There's no safe starts when you start them.
Sure.
Like, I never like Aaron Jones. Obviously, was my first round pick. I'm starting him every week, but I know he's only going to produce half the time.
He's looked good though. He's looked really good.
He only had 4 points last week, though.
When he's good, he's good, though. He's good.
Yeah, no, 100%. He had 33 1 week, so.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. That makes me feel a bit better. Brandon Cooks, who's owned by Bryce, who's his 54th overall pick. I know in the offseason, a lot of people are hyping him up as like the most underrated wide receiver. He is not being the greatest. He has 22.30 points total over 3 weeks. Last week, only had 3.2 points, 2 receptions, 22 yards. Should Bryce be concerned about Brandon Cooks?
I just think the whole Houston offense should be concerned. Like Davis Mills, I kind of expect him to take a bit of a step this year, and he's looked pretty bad. So it's hard to have a consistent receiver when your quarterback's absolute trash.
Whoa.
I would say he was hyped because of the theoretical volume, and
Yes.
there's still nobody else that can catch the ball on that team, really. So
He is still the number one, so
yeah, there's still hope, I think.
So just
he'll
hang
probably
on.
be fine long term. Like I feel like Brandon Cooks is the same player he always has, but he's gonna have his boom or bust weeks.
Remember when he's a Ram?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he
And
would
he
get a
was-
concussion every year.
Yeah. When he's a Ram, he was like he would have like 3 catches for 90 yards, or he'd have 3 catches for like nothing. Like, he was very up and down. Okay, Juju Smith-Schuster, who is owned by my father, 52nd overall pick. Winter,
Father?
my father, this is your concern, was Juju, eh? Hey, Winter, you listed him. He has only 22.80 points total over 3 weeks. Why are you
Yeah.
concerned?
Well, I've watched a decent amount of the Chiefs games because I have a few of the Chiefs on my fantasy team, and it's partially what people were sort of expecting, right? They're spreading the ball a little bit more, but Juju was supposed to be their like primary wide receiver. Like, I mean, he's a skilled player, but he's just not getting fed that much. So it's been 3 weeks now. There still hasn't been anything razzle dazzle from Juju at all. So if it was me, if I wasn't worried, I would certainly be impatient at this point. It's just like, get him the ball a bit more so you see what he can do.
It's just hard to have any of the KC offensive. Like if you ask me, would you want any of the KC receivers? I would say
No, get that garbage out of here!
Oh my God.
You did it! That was awesome!
That was awesome.
I did have McCole Hardman and I dropped him, so I
also had MVS and I dropped it. Like it's the same thing. Like it's too inconsistent. They're all of them are going to have their weeks. They'll never be in anyone's starting lineup when they have their weeks.
So before I click the drop button for McCole Hardman, what did I say?
No, get that garbage out of here!
I love that. I just need to touch on actually Juju last week. He had 8 targets, 5 catches, 89 yards. So maybe there is a little bit of hope, but
Trending in the right direction, I guess. Yeah.
he's got a little bit, but you can't count on it. Casey's spreading it out. Outside of Travis Kelce, you can't really count on much. The last guy we have here, Tom Brady, who is Shane's QB, 62nd overall pick. He is not being the Tom Brady that I don't know if we all love, but we all expected more from. He's averaging only 11.84 points per week, which is dreadful for a quarterback, and he's only throwing 1 TD per week. Winter, would you be concerned about Tom Brady?
I would say no. There's so much to talk about on this specific point. Like, look at what's going on in Tampa Bay. Like, he was throwing to nobody. He was throwing to Russell Gage. Like, he had nobody. He had no Mike Evans. I don't think he had Julio. Obviously, Godwin he didn't have. He's missing Gronk. His O-line doesn't look that good. He's dealing with
his O-line's completely hurt too.
Yeah. So, I mean, he has the personal stuff going on too. There's just so much going on. Like, I wouldn't be worried. I mean, he's the GOAT for a reason, and he still slings it. Like, he'll be fine. I think Gronk should bring Gronk back.
There's a little part of me that'd be a little worried that he might just retire mid-year. Like, fuck this. I'm getting hit like crazy. My receivers are hurt. We're not winning.
He's
I guess-
getting in arguments with like Lattimore, like
Yeah, like making Mike Evans fight his battles. I think there was a clip where it was actually Bruce Arians that sent Mike Evans back in. Like, Mike Evans went to the sideline and Bruce Arians yelled at him. And then then immediately after he went and pushed Lattimore.
Really?
Yeah, I saw the clip today.
Mike
So
Evans is
there's
a
more-
good teammate. He's a good teammate.
Yeah,
So there's more to it.
it seems like it.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay, is there anyone else you guys think should be a concern for anyone?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
No, nobody else that's jumping out.
Or there's people we've
We've discussed in
looked at.
previous weeks.
Yeah, like Alvin Kamara has not been the same, but we talked about these players last week or the week before, like Eckler. There's a bunch of them.
Yeah, we don't want to just completely rip on a guy and make an owner feel really bad. So
Yeah.
we'll give Alvin Kamara a break.
We'll probably be wrong anyway. So.
Oh yeah,
All right, so on to reviewing the matchups from last week. Like previous weeks, we're all gonna kind of do a deep dive on one matchup we thought was extra entertaining. So let's just quickly gloss over some of the other matchups. Let's start with Thunder Gun Express against the Magic School Bus. Thunder Gun Express won 113.32 to 81.58. This now makes Jordan. Wow, Jordan. That feels weird to call him that. 2-1, and Bryce is now 1-2. Obviously, Lamar Jackson is leading the charge for Thunder Gun, and he's got some other nice little pieces
Tyreek.
like Melvin Gordon. Wow.
I told you he's looking good.
Jay
You heard it from me.
And obviously Jamal Williams now is the number one guy for him, so that's huge. You know who I like on Bryce's team, though, is the Dortch. That guy's been so useful because they have no wide receivers in Arizona.
Yeah, but also probably temporary.
Oh, 100% temporary. I just love it. I love that he's in
Great name. Yeah.
He's in a starting lineup. I love that. And he's producing somewhat.
I do not love it, but
Oh my god. Ezekiel Elliott had a better week for Bryce, though. He had 14 points. That's surprising considering how Zeke has been over the first
hopefully the
couple
whole
weeks.
Cooper Rush thing actually helps Zeke. They're
Tony
gonna run
Pollard looked so good though,
Oh my god, does he
which is
ever.
bad for Zeke.
He's like shot out of a cannon. That guy is unreal.
I'm
Anyways,
starting
that
to
was-
think Zeke has something on like Jerry Jones's family. It's like for a year. I feel like it's been like years of this where like Tony Pollard looks like the better player, and they're like, you know what, Tony, you can play 10 snaps today.
Okay, on to. So Finkel is Einhorn remains undefeated. They won with a total crappy score of 71.46 to Roguevile's 66.70, which now makes Shane 1-2. My God, I guess Steve
It's
is just
gross.
he's the luckiest fantasy player currently. Hopefully he has some regression at some point.
It's also in first place, so maybe he just knows what he's doing.
Yeah, right. And like we said last week, like Christian McCaffrey has not been Christian McCaffrey, and yet
No.
he continues to win. So looking
Baker
at his
Mayfield
lineup,
needs to throw CMC the ball.
his team didn't do anything this week, and he won.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous. Oh my god. Anyways, and then you got Shane, who he's got concerns at running back, Austin Eckler and Joe Mixon.
Big names. Even Miles Sanders had a bad week.
Ugh.
Just a lot of really, really talented players who he should be fine long term, but something Austin Eckler doesn't look like the same player this year. Maybe he's just not as involved, or
But why?
there's
That's
just
the
something.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know
a
what's going on.
confusing one.
All right, on to Action Jackson. Do you know that team? They had a nice little win, 89.1 to DeAndre the Giant, 77.84. It pushes you, Kyle, to 2-1, and DeAndre Giant down to 1-2. That was a nice little win, Joe
Felt
Burrow
good.
looked nice and decent for you.
Looked a lot better.
Kyle Pitts actually performed somewhat.
Sure did. No, I'll take that every week.
Outside of that,
He also had a big pass that he almost caught that was just out of the way. It would have been like a 60-yard touchdown.
Oh, really?
But the ball was out of his. Like Mariota just airmailed it a little bit.
You're sure it wasn't Drake London?
I'm positive it wasn't Drake London. It was number 5.
I'm also positive, unfortunately.
I mean, how was watching on Monday night Saquon Barkley when he broke that one rush for a touchdown? Were you getting a little bit nervous?
Not really, because I did touch on it before. If I lost to Saquon, yeah, it would hurt. But it also means that the Giants would have won.
Yeah, I
So
think the
it's
deal
kind of
breaker.
win-win, but I'll take it.
I guess the deal breaker here was that they started Justin Fields over Trevor Lawrence, which is
Yes.
very surprising. I actually just noticed that right now. That is shocking that they did that, and they had Devin
And-
Singletary on
yeah.
the bench. Oh man, that hurts. Oh, no wonder they're tilting. Oh, I'm sorry, DeAndre. That's not a good time. Okay, and then what other matchup are you guys not? Shitaki's Few, way she goes. Winter had a nice little win, 117 point. You put up a lot of points.
And the thing about his win, like, it was not like he had one guy with 40 points. Every single player on his team showed up.
That's
To
what you
some
want.
capacity. Everyone's in double digits. That's textbook. That's exactly what you're looking for.
I'd say the impressive thing is that you put up that many points, and JT only put up 10.6. So that's huge.
I was going to say, allow me to point out that Jonathan Taylor was actually my lowest scorer in my starting lineup. Interesting.
Wow. That is.
He also
scary.
started this way last year, Jonathan Taylor, and then by the end of the year he was RB1.
So he's waiting for something else. It's not snow in Vermont.
Yeah, we don't know this.
Something
We don't know the secret. His career's not long enough. We haven't unlocked what his snow in Vermont is.
There's something though.
One
There's gotta
interesting thing I was reading. I mean, yeah, I was just reading. Yahoo told me was that Jonathan Taylor has never missed a practice ever until today.
Wow.
He missed his first NFL practice ever today, which is interesting.
That means he's going to be out for the season, probably.
Got to be. It's the only realistic conclusion.
I'm speechless when you say things like
that. Is there any other matchup we haven't touched on that we're not?
I don't think so.
Okay, so I'll let Winter take charge on this. You said that you want to discuss the Chase Your Jareems versus Lil Sebastian matchup. What'd you think of that one?
I did. I wanted to take a closer look at this one. I mean, I tried to be nice, but I didn't want to talk too much trash about your team, Charlie. But that was just mostly out of an assumption that you were going to be an unbeatable team. But
I'm very beatable, by the way. I'm very beatable.
Yeah, well, Justin Jefferson, 2.9 fantasy points. What the heck is that? That's no good. That hurts.
In the high scoring game too.
Yeah, weird.
He had 14 yards. Like, what the hell's that? Oh my god.
Very strange. Jamar Chase hasn't. He started big, but I mean, I think last week his fantasy line was saved by TD, and then this week maybe the same thing. I can't remember, but
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so you're hoping for a little more out of him. You have Woods on Tennessee. He gave you double digits at least. I don't think he gave you like literally anything else before. We already talked about Connor on Arizona already. Look, you're obviously shopping for a tight end. You're not getting a lot out of a production out of that position. And then AJ Dillon, 4.8. That's, I mean, come on. You just kind of.
There's one guy on my bench that I wish I had started, I guess, the last 3 weeks, but
yeah, I don't know. I think you should just keep him on your bench, right? At this point,
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you have a lot of good, decent players on your bench, though. Some fun guys like Dotson. Good call. Not you don't trust that yet, so that's a good call. You only put up 2 points. And then on Riley's side, Amari Cooper's looked. He's looked pretty good. Fantasy wise, at least, he's putting up some points. Cooper Kupp, Kyle already mentioned that he snuck in that rushing touchdown. So he's going to do it for you every single week. I play Riley this next week, so I'm worried about that.
I just have to mention Amari Cooper, 2 weeks in a row, 101 yards and a touchdown. 2 weeks in a row. That's so consistent. Weird. I always find it weird when they double up. Anyways, keep going.
They must have been home games. He only performs on home games, right? That's his.
Oh my god, they were!
So hopefully he's away next week.
He is. He's in Atlanta. He's in Atlanta.
Wow.
Let's go. But
Okay.
Riley got some relief too, right? Derrick Henry probably finally showed up. TJ Hawkinson almost gave him double digits. I think they were expecting a little bit more out of him. Maybe, I guess. Oh, he started 2 tight ends.
It's humiliating that he beat me. I'm stoned.
Yeah, he had Keenan Allen hurt, and he still got the job done. So
He's starting Corey Davis and Michael Carter. Oh my god! Don't get me started on this.
Clearly, they're better than Justin Jefferson and James Conner.
I hate this so much. I hate fantasy football. I want to quit.
I'm sorry for picking this. We literally went line by line and just described every player's contribution.
Charlie, this is how you lost, and you lost to a clearly less talented team.
I
It would have
hate
been
this.
really. I mean, they had Devontae Parker from New England. He had put up 18 points on Riley's bench. If he would have put him in instead of Corey Davis, you would have been extra humiliated.
But like, look at Matthew Stafford. He put up 10 points basically. Like, what? Yeah, this week sucked a lot. And I am. You know what? I am tilting. You're right, Kyle. It's like I'm very much tilting.
I can't wait to get tilting Charlie a little tipsy on Friday.
Oh my god!
Trade offers flying at the table.
Justin Jefferson's all yours, buddy.
Locked in.
All right, we're gonna move on before I just lose it. Wally World versus Captain Cook. That's what you want to touch on, Kyle. Let's hear it.
It was a very close match. If I recall, Sterling Shepard needed a few points only to get Wally the win, which obviously happened. But it's kind of ironic that he got hurt. If he would have got hurt a little earlier, maybe Cook would have got his first win, and then maybe he wouldn't have made a trade with me. So thank you, Sterling Shepard.
Wow,
Butterfly
it all
effect.
makes sense. It all
It all
comes
makes
around.
sense. But no, it was a very tight match. It came down, like I said, to the Monday night game.
You weren't even nervous.
Again, another KC receiver was started and got 0 points because that's what happens when you rely on KC wide receivers. Oh, Wally has 2 KC wide receivers. That is a bold choice. Yeah, both teams had a couple other players not show up. Obviously, Henderson seems to be losing the job to Cam Akers.
Do you remember what was that clip we played for McCole?
I think
Remember
it was
No, get that garbage out of here!
See, you pick up 2 KC receivers and they don't perform. No surprise.
Charlie loves it.
I do love it. Dude, he started 2 tight ends. Is this like some sort of what's going on? Everyone's
Maybe
starting
that's
2
the
tight
strat,
ends.
and you don't even have one. Man.
Oh my god. This is what's wrong. I'm not keeping up with the trends. God damn
That's it. You got to start 2 tight ends this week.
Oh wow. So anyway, Wally World won it. So what did it for him? What carried
Josh
him over
Allen.
the top?
Josh Allen was the big player, and obviously Cordell again. Every week I think he's gonna show regression, but he just flexes them big boy muscles and puts on his RB1 pants and goes to work.
Wow, every week we check, he's got like 15, 20 plus points.
You know what I said with that?
That Hansel's so hot right now.
Oh my god. We got a soundboard, boys. This podcast is on a whole nother level. This is unreal. Oh my god. So, do you think it was that fumble that caused Finney to just be like, you know what? Let's get that garbage out of here
It
and
must
trade him
be.
to you?
Must be, yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
that is a very close matchup.
It was
and
tight.
It's unfortunate that he missed out on Tua. You know, he benched him the week that he went insane, and then when he puts him in, it's like, nah.
He didn't have, Carson Wentz didn't do anything for him on his bench.
No, but you're definitely hoping for a lot more. And then obviously Khalil Herbert on his bench is just painful. But why would you start him, right? So
No, yeah, you don't start him when David Montgomery's there.
oh man, Finney he must have been tilting even more than me. Like everything's going wrong for him, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's just.
Yeah, been there before.
What do you guys think of? By the way, looking at Wally World's bench, what do you guys think of Romeo Dubs? Do you think that he could be something?
I think
Possibly.
yes, because he caught all 8 of his targets, and Aaron Rodgers, that's all he wants from his players. Just if I throw you the ball, catch it. Not like Watkins or Watson in the first week when he dropped that big open touchdown pass would have been.
Yeah.
Do you like him, Winter?
I'm secretly rooting against him a little bit just because I have Al Lazard as my wide receiver one.
Oh, I wouldn't be worried. I wouldn't be worried.
No.
Lazard looked like his number one guy when he was in there, and he looks good. I didn't realize how tall he is. He looks like a big guy.
He's huge. He's a
I
great.
think he was saved last week though from a touchdown, right? He wasn't too involved last week.
No, I think both games he's played, he hasn't got more than like 2, 3, 4 targets, but he scored in both games. So, whatever, I'll take a score.
Yeah,
Just
no.
keep through. Yeah.
All right, so last but not least, I want to touch on the Toronto Flatliners just absolutely destroying Total Immortal. Like, just humiliating him. I know,
Cool.
and like we've actually been ripping on Gavin's team a little bit, so I need to give him a little bit of props because his team obviously dominated. So Toronto Flatliners won 142.82 to 60.36 over Andrew. It moves Toronto up to 1-2, and Andrew, that's his first loss in the year. Devonta Smith, who apparently he was trying to sell and no one was taking him, went absolutely berserk in the first half. Like, did he do much in the second half? I don't even think he did. Like, I think he just did all in the first half. But 26.9 points from him is unreal. The other big news for Gavin, which I ripped on the previous week, I believe, is Ramondre Stevenson. He put up 18.1 points. He had 73 rush yards, 1 rush touchdown, 28 reception yards, and he might be moving into the number 1 spot. Like,
yep.
I guess it just goes to show, just hang on to the guys you believe in, and he might be the number 1 running back in that backfield.
And I believe their starting quarterback this week is Brian Hoyer.
Ew.
So
really?
maybe both running backs are more involved. Yeah, Mac Jones got very injured at the end of that game.
Yes. Yeah, his ankle got mangled, right?
And first of all, when they were talking post game, I think the coach said they have confidence in Axel, which is apparently Brian Hoyer's first name.
No, it's not.
It is.
No, it's
Can you
not.
imagine your name being Axel and you're going by Brian? I might go by Axel.
No, I'm looking this up right now. What are you talking about?
It is actually factual.
Oh my God! Brian Hoyer explains the story behind his real first name,
Axel.
What?
I don't. Nah, you know what? Axel's too dangerous of a name. I want Brian. I'm not good enough a quarterback to have a name like Axel.
Holy shit! His Instagram, it says here, I just Google searched his name. It says Brian Axel Hoyer.
Yeah.
And his Instagram tag is Hoyer the Destroyer.
Wow.
I love this guy. Oh my God, the Patriots are going to win. I can feel it. Oh my goodness. Anyways, we were ripping on Gavin for the double Eagles wide receiver stack, and it looked good last week. A.J. Brown put up 17 points with Devontae Smith's 26.9. Derek Carr looks solid. Mark Andrews produced as always. DK Metcalf looked really good. He had a touchdown. Gavin might be turning a corner here. And then obviously I know Winter, I think you wanted to rip on Travis Etienne, but he looks decent. Like there's no point you're not going to give up on the guy, right? So
I did not want to rip on him. I was just saying I was expecting him to be a world beater for some reason. I just get really
James Robinson, right? He's just so good.
Etienne looks like the second best running back on that team.
Ooh, I love it.
He's on your bench.
No one needs to worry. Yeah, he's going to be on Charlie's bench again this week.
And then on the flip side, I think one of my favorite things is watching the Facebook chat when Andrew's team is not doing well.
Yeah. It's very active on those days.
Just constant things like, I think he said Stephon Diggs is going to, he'll eventually score 3 touchdowns in this game. And I don't know. 3
touchdowns would not have saved him.
That's a great point. And funny enough, he has Damon Harris. So this extra hurts that Ramondre Stevenson looks so good. Darren Waller's being kind of concerning for him. Raheem Mostert he picked up off waivers and he got him 1.1 points.
I was shocked. I thought he'd be way more involved.
Me too.
Chase Edmonds on Gavin's bench he showed up. Not that he didn't even really show up. He just had 2 touchdowns.
And I think the guy who's making him tilt the most, although Andrew is 2-1, but Russell Wilson, he only put up 9 points and he doesn't look.
He looks lost.
Yeah, he really does.
Did you hear Eli Manning said on the Manning cast
No.
that they should have paid the punter $250 million?
Oh my god! Oh no!
Wow, that's
Russ-
wow.
Russell Wilson responded today saying, because Eli Manning actually went undercover at Penn State. I don't know if you saw that, as a guy
No.
trying out for their team at quarterback, and when with a disguise on, his name was Chad Powers.
Yeah,
And
I saw
Russell
that.
Wilson today said, "Oh, you're talking about Chad Powers? I was 3-0 against Chad Powers in his career."
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's fun little
Fun.
banter.
Yeah.
The other guy I want to mention, actually, should Andrew be concerned about Elijah Moore? He has been very average thus far.
He seems
you've
to
got-
be passed by the rookie on the depth
Yeah,
chart.
the rookie sensation Wilson, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, he looks.
I guess
Wilson looks so much. He's just so much fun to watch. I'm jealous. I wish I had him.
You can't have every rookie receiver.
I know.
God damn, bro. Save some scraps for the rest of us.
I wanted them all.
Anyways, I think this is actually probably the biggest win of the week because it was a divisional matchup. B, Andrew was undefeated at the time, and Gavin, if he had lost, he'd be 0-3, and he would have been probably making the blockbuster trade. So that was a big win.
I wouldn't rule out Gavin making a blockbuster share this week either way. I know he's out there trying. I know he's slinging deals to people. I don't know any of the workings of the deals. He does not disclose that information to me, even though I have told him all of my offers. So clearly, which apparently I shouldn't.
Yeah,
He's
the
pulling
puppet
all the
master.
string. Yeah,
He's
he's pulling the string.
master.
Now I know.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so looking ahead to next week, are there any matchups to you guys that you guys think maybe are the biggest matchup?
Well, I'm excited. I'm excited personally to play Jordan Perry because I have to face Lamar, and I think that game should be a shootout.
Okay.
Is this a rivals week?
It's not supposed to be, but it's lining up like there are quite a few rivals. We got you and Riley facing off. I'm taking on my sister. That'll be fun. There's some good little matchups going on here. I guess a big one is, can Finney dig himself out of the basement and beat Gavin, who is now looking pretty hot? That'll be tough.
It's going to be tough.
He's the puppet master, so
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to win that one. Wow.
I was gonna say he's Palpatine.
Oh, God.
Little Star Wars nerddom coming out there.
I love it.
Oh my god. Any trade that
Trying to make trades.
any trade that he offers you, it's at the drop. Oh my god, we should have a whole Star Wars pod. Star Wars theme pod coming up next. Anyways, anything else you guys want to touch on? That was a fun pod.
I believe that is it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that was great. Thank you, Winter, for showing up for this one. We love having you on.
That was fun.
I'm excited for this coming week. Thursday night, my Bengals are taking on Miami, so that's going to be a great time. Hopefully, they can take advantage of Mr. Concussed over there. If he plays, he's still questionable.
God, I
rude
hope he
nickname.
plays.
And then, as Winter mentioned, everyone make sure you have your lineups ready to go. We got a London. Is it in London?
It is in London, 9:30 Sunday.
Wow. So Saturday night, make sure everyone's fired up. It should be fun. Yeah, I had fun. All right. Let's enjoy. Hopefully everyone does well. Hopefully everyone wins next week.
Yeah, that seems possible.
Cross your fingers.
All right, Kyle.
Good luck,
Hit it
boys.
with your bye.
Bye.
Yeah.